a water source nearby.
1, 2, 3! The Sturgis Rally has officially begun and people are starting to flood the streets. People are pouring in from all over the nation. Just right to my right here, we have a bike from Arizona, Texas, Colorado. And the large gathering of people here in the small town is raising concerns for the spread of COVID-19. Those that will talk have a similar thought.
We don't want to smell your smoke!
Mike says that nowadays there's a lot more to these trucks than meets the eye. They're equipped with all kinds of gadgets, gizmos, and gear to make sure that when you hit the streets, you're safe and sound. A photograph. It's a way to guarantee a memory of history. A rock works in a similar way, except its imprint tells a story that's millions of years old.
Traction. You need it, or else slip and slide.
And when you do, you might not be as lucky as me right now and have no cars around. That's why when road conditions get bad, city plow drivers open their doors and get to work.
Welcome back. This woman is hitting the slopes for the first time today, and it's not something you would necessarily expect. She's 99 years old, but she's young at heart. She's had disabilities her whole life preventing her from doing so, but an organization called Ski for Light is making her dreams within reach. Our Jeffrey Lindblom joined her on the Terry Peak slopes and has a story.
Right now, Edith's family is helping her prepare for a very special moment.
She turns 100 in March and she has a bucket list.
And she's been waiting a long time to check one thing off.
Ready, Grandma?
100 years.
3, 2.
And to her, it's an important one.
Top of the list.
She's been limited with physical disabilities all her life, so this is something she's never been able to do.
Ski for Light, an organization who help people with disabilities, is helping Edith to achieve the impossible.
Tim is going to guide you, and there's going to be your microphone. You'll be able to hear him.
Now we can hear. 99 is that's way up there, and hopefully that's going to help other people that think I can't do this stuff to think more about what they can do.
I wish I had some sunglasses on.
With goggles on,
I'm sitting crooked.
and after just a bit of rearranging,
You feeling good?
Yep.
it's finally time
Hi.
to hit the slopes.
3, 2, 1, flip.
On the chairlift, Edith realized that she's doing something that she and some of her past family members never thought was possible.
She's watching from up above, I'm sure.
Yes, she is.
And just like that, 100 years of anticipation comes to an end.
Here we go.
Okay.
It did turn to emotional fear of, oh my gosh, what could happen out here?
But Edith gracefully took turn after turn,
Oh my gosh. This is unbelievable.
and eventually cruised her way down the whole run.
Is it that bumpy all the way? I thought skiing was smooth.
You want to go? You want to do another one?
Well, absolutely.
The bumps, to Edith, just a minor setback.
It has been bumpy, but it's okay.
What made Edith want to ski in the first place was simple.
It just looked like fun.
One run turned into two.
I'll go a third time.
3 was enough for this near-century-old, but at heart, young lady.
I got other things to do.
Check skiing off the bucket list.
This was wonderful. I think everybody should do it, even though it's real bumpy.
With Coda Territory News, I'm Jeffrey Lindblom reporting.
Now that is an e-ticket ride.
Beautiful story, and she wasn't going too slow. She was booking it.
I couldn't go that fast.
And great job to Jeffrey, who was on a snowboard doing that story. Incredible stuff.
The internet shrouds a person and offers something that the physical world could never. Anonymity. In other words, you can never know for certain exactly who is on the other side of the screen. At 5:20 p.m. Monday, Rapid City Police were called here to Spruce Street. Upon their arrival, they found 26-year-old Tricia Paxton Dennett and her 4-year-old son, both dead of gunshot wounds in what is now being investigated as an apparent murder-suicide. Finding missing children doesn't rely solely on tools like these like it used to. Instead, people are unlocking their phones, where police are utilizing social media to broaden their search. You can see the smoke out in the distant hills behind me, where 5 firefighters so far have trekked with 40 pounds of gear and through muddy trails in an effort to fend off the flames. You might be wondering why those helicopters look like ants and why they're not using a closer water resource. Well, simple. That's because places like Sylvan Lake right here, they're frozen.
It's been the talk of Rapid City the past week, racism, stemming from the comments made by the owner of the Grand Gateway Hotel, saying she's banning Native Americans from the property. Today, tribal leaders from Sioux tribes all over the region gathered and discussed what action to take against the blatant racism. Jeffrey Lindblom reports they won't stand for it.
Tribal leaders convened in Rapid City to stand against the Grand Gateway Hotel and its subsidiaries.
Great Sioux Nation hereby condemns the blatant racism that is coming from the owner of the Grand Gateway Hotel and its subsidiaries in Rapid City.
I'm tired of this bullshit. Honestly, to be honest, I get profiled almost every single day. I know that. You know, you just have to take a stand at a certain point.
Taking a stand in unity, where 5 tribal leaders signed a notice of trespass, indicating the hotel has violated terms of a treaty made with the Sioux in 1868 based on the location of the hotel, and the racist comments made that they say violate Article 1 of the treaty.
This is who we are as descendants of the 1851 and 1868 treaty.
They're instructing the hotel and its subsidiaries to vacate the premises or else be held liable.
Service notice of trespass, and that will be done today.
The Great Sioux Nation says they're willing to take the following actions needed to end racism on the treaty lands indefinitely, including boycotting Rapid City, pressuring the city council to revoke business licenses, filing hate crime charges against the owner of the hotel, and more.
A lot has transpired here in the last few days, and a lot more to come. It's with the future generations in mind is why we're doing this.
As for what the future holds, to be hopeful about.
Start treating Native Americans with respect and dignity. Just treat us as humans. And I think that will go a long way.
For Black Hills Fox, I'm Jeffrey Lindblom reporting.
They'll move on to the rescue, where they work with these mannequins that simulate the actual body weight of a human being. These catalytic converters can be sold for a pretty penny, and they're not very difficult to access from beneath a car. Here, let's take a look. A project here on St. Pat and Highway 44, which will close the intersection. What they all have in common? A start date of March 14th. Right now behind me, divers are taking beneath the ice for a not very frequent, however very dangerous event. If you're under the impression that Rapid City is getting bigger, then you hit the nail on the head. Aha, the Triceratops, a defensive and horned creature. Let's see what other kinds of information that I can find out about this neat and historic beast. 65 hours old, look at that. It's that time of year again, where Mother Nature is letting us know that it's time for a change. And there's no better indicator than Spearfish Canyon. Or, in this case, the place where the leaves will tell you it's fall. In other words, when your pet does its duty, it's your responsibility to do yours too. Turns out the hills got some snow, which makes your routine run a little bit slower. So here's how people slide into their morning routines.
Weather conditions have dipped below zero, making it difficult enough for some to run to the car, or even harder for someone who works outdoors on a daily basis. But how about for someone who has to face those sub-zero temperatures on a nightly basis? That's something the Rapid City Police Department tries to protect against. And as Jeffrey Lindblom reports, they do so with nightly patrols searching for those who are homeless and in need of help.
When it's cold enough outside, you can see the exhaust coming from the tailpipe of a car, or the steam from a cup of coffee. But what the Rapid City Police Department's Cold Patrol is looking for, the breath of a human being.
My prayers go extendedly with the homeless that are living on the streets in cold.
Your body can only take so much cold temperature before it shuts down.
I almost froze to death. I lived in a storage and I almost froze to death in a weather like this. It was icy, cold, and terrible.
We lost a lot of people out here, man. It is cold out here.
What our officers are doing is just to make sure that someone is safe and that we do not end up with an exposure death.
Captain Olson says places like Rapid Creek, bike paths, and parks are areas where people who need some help tend to congregate. And it doesn't matter how old, young, or experienced you are, when the weather gets bad, it can be deadly. This is a pair of pants.
There are times when the weather gets so bad that even if you're a veteran of being outdoors, you may not make it just because the conditions are so terrible.
It is cold as hell. It's hard to find somewhere warm to stay.
And what happens to you if you don't?
We die. But, you know, we try to survive. Try to.
Jeffrey Lindblom, Coda Territory News.
We will.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Lindblom. Thanks for being here. In Rapid City, you might have smelled some smoke. The Black Hills National Forest's Hell Canyon Ranger District is burning hazardous fuels in a prescribed fire project. Thank you, David. The U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly passed a bill that would create a library of cattle contracts within the Department of Agriculture. We look forward to it. Now, something else that's hot, like the current weather, the subject of high gas prices, which have put a financial burden on drivers across the United States, and South Dakota public schools are no exemption to the rule. Although many of the mandates across the country are declining, as many call the pandemic an endemic, lingering effects remain. Casey Stegall has a story out of Dallas about an increase in mental illness nationwide. Where reports of gunfire were called in on Friday at a local mall. Wichita police say a teen was killed.
We'll have
ready.
partly cloudy skies. I love it.
I'm ready. I'm ready for tomorrow. It's going to be a nice commute into work. T-shirt weather.
Yeah, like you said, it's t-shirt weather tomorrow. Not even just hoodie weather, t-shirt weather.
You have a pair of sunglasses you're going to wear tomorrow?
Are you with the Matrix?
I am with the Matrix, and that's all for us, guys. Yep, we appreciate it. Have a good night, Black Hills.